these two boys met. Don, can you stand up? Don was, we have a little program here called the Little Karate Masters. The boys and girls are usually like 4, 5, and 6. Don was actually in that program, but he wasn't that big. I don't think he was ever that big. Don Moore is, come on, Don. Don Moore was he's a chiropractor right now, and he's also a former WWF professional wrestler. And Don trained here at the school for many years with his brother, who's actually bigger than Don. And Don and Robert actually met in a rehab facility, not knowing that they both trained at East Coast Black Belt Academy. So Don relayed a story to me how, and Don always comes back to the dojo. He'll always come back here and say, you know, Sensei, I graduated #1 in my class. Sensei, I accomplished this in my life. Sensei, if it wasn't because of karate, you know, he doesn't know where his life would have taken him. But relay the story that you shared with me.
I mean, it's pretty simple. If it wasn't for these two people, I wouldn't be where I am now. I met Sensei Jerry when I was 8 years old, and the lessons I learned here set me up for the lessons that I was going to learn out there. And nothing came easy. I had to work for everything. I remember coming back here and, you know, crying about how hard grad school was, you know, and how I wanted to give up on it. But he didn't let me, you know, and then I met other people along the way. And
when everybody told you not to go to the Philippines, who told you to go?
You know, and you know, I've just always been a thrill seeker and a risk taker. And when an opportunity is presented in front of you, you have to make the most of it. You know, they've known since I was a little kid I always wanted to wrestle for the World Wrestling Federation, and I did it. They also knew I wanted to be a doctor. You know, how many people told me over the years, you can't do both, you'll never pull it off, you'll never be able to do this. I actually had a professor in grad school who showed a video in front of my entire class, and it was a joke because they were making fun of me. Because it was about a guy who was a chiropractor who was also a professional wrestler, and they tried to make a huge joke out of it. And I kind of just laughed in his face, and I told him flat out, I'm going to succeed because he told me that I can. When I met Robbie, I suffered a really bad injury. I tore up my whole arm. I couldn't lift the bed sheet. But I wrestled like that for the World Wrestling Federation for a year. And when it came time for me to go and I had to have the surgery, I wound up coming back to New York. And it was the physical therapy office that Robbie and I met in. And I saw him on the bike, but I didn't really say anything. I was in my own world. They had me on this table, and they were working on my shoulder. And it was the worst pain that I had ever felt. I mean, if I could have had every injury I ever had over again, I would have chose that over this. And, you know, we all eventually get to a point in life where we might hit a really, really dark spot. If you have doctors telling you you're never going to be a chiropractor again, you'll never wrestle professionally again, your life might be changing, and you might want to re-decide on what you're going to do with your life. Those are some pretty hard choices when you spent your entire life chasing after something. So when I was laying on the table and just staring at the floor, this was a point in time where Robbie couldn't even walk on his own. Every day I saw him being walked in, holding onto his mom with his right arm. And when he was getting ready to leave, he turned around, told his mom to turn around. He walked over to the table that I was laying on, leaned down into my face, and said, if I can get through this, you can get through that, so get up and get to work. And at that point, the entire place kind of shut down, and they were like, what the hell was that? And basically at that point on, I never told him this, but I started planning my physical therapy sessions at around the time that he was in the book already, because he was my inspiration to get better. Robbie has a way of inspiring the uninspirable. People who were ready to give up. You know, I mean, how many times have we had a conversation about not giving up and pushing through and striving to be the best that you can possibly be? Robbie is the perfect example of that. Because I can honestly tell you, if I was going through what he is going through right now, I would have never made it back like this. How many can honestly sit here and say, if you were in a hospital the way he was, going through the situations he was going through day to day, just, the simplest things that we take for granted, brushing your teeth, combing your hair, taking a shower, tying your shoes.
Talk about that.
You know what I mean? Brushing your beard. But, it's like the simple things in life that we take for granted, and the things that people complain about on a day-to-day basis about how life is so hard. His life is hard, and he walks around with a smile on his face. So if there's anyone in here that can raise their hand right now saying that they have it harder than this kid, I welcome you to raise your hand, because he is the inspiration that got me going again. And when I told him that I want to try, being a chiropractor again, he was the first patient at my office. So when he thought that I was helping him, he was actually inspiring me and saving me. And it's because of the work that I did with him that led to me getting back in the ring, wrestling again, working in the Philippines. I became I say one of the best. I became the best chiropractor in the Philippines. I was known as the Dr. Oz of Southeast Asia. And it's because of him. The things that I learned just from him telling me to get up, it's not that bad. You can't buy that type of enthusiasm from someone who's going through so much on a day-to-day basis.
Hey, Robert, you want to do a karate? It's getting past this bedtime.